What's going on, everyone? My name is Jason.
Hey friends, it's Desiree Josen.
Because they usually go all out for me.
I loved it. And stop and be like, this is amazing.
I just think this is awesome for the both of them.
Hey, what's crackin' everybody? WWE Hall of Famer, The Godfather, and I want you to watch the #1, that's right, the #1 podcast, Chutes and Ladders. See you there. Peace.
Here are your hosts, Jason and Desiree.
Chutes and Ladders, King of Canada. What's going on, everyone? My name is Jason.
Hi friends, it's Desiree Josen.
We just came off an amazing AEW pay-per-view in Canada, and it got us thinking about just how important Canada's been to pro wrestling. From legendary WWE to AEW icons, Canada has produced some of the greatest wrestlers to have ever stepped into the ring. So today we're putting 8 Canadian legends into a tournament to answer the question, who is the King of Canada? Des, what are your initial thoughts?
Well, our neighbors up north sure as hell know how to produce some damn good wrestlers. I tell you that. And looking at the list, I mean, there is triple the amount that we could have put on here. So that just tells you the quality of wrestlers that we're dealing with from Canada. But yeah, let's get to it.
All right, round 1 is to you, Des, and talk about 2 legends that came from Stu Hart's Dungeon of Wrestling, and it literally came from Stu Hart. We're going Bret Hart versus Owen Hart in round 1. Who are you taking and why?
I think this is a no-brainer. Okay. We'll just lay it out there. Bret Hart, he is on my Mount Rushmore. I love him. But, I mean, that does not discount anything of little brother Owen Hart. He has done so much. And he was exactly what he was. He was the little brother, and he was constantly in the shadow, always fighting to be in the spotlight from Bret and the rest of his family.
Well, let me just throw something out there. Owen Hart did beat Bret Hart at WrestleMania.
He did. However, was he a 7-time champion? Was he a multi-time champion? King of the Ring. Don't make me lay out exactly what, the best there was and the best there ever will be has produced. So, but that does not discount anything about Owen. And damn, we wish he was still here. So, but with that being said, I will stop running my mouth and I will just, let's go with Bret.
All right, fair enough. And listen, ultimately, objectively, that is definitely true. I personally, Owen Hart was my favorite wrestler when I was during that era. Yeah, I loved him. I really did. I thought he was so technical. Listen, anyone that wants to watch an old wrestling match, watch Bret Hart versus Owen Hart. WrestleMania 10 is one of the greatest matches of all time. WrestleMania 10 is just off the charts, and that set the foundation. Pun intended. But you know what? Listen, Bret Hart was with Jim the Anvil. They won multiple tag team championships. You could argue that Bret Hart, from top to bottom, has accomplished literally everything from a tag team to just being on his own. I mean, you can go on and on. But listen, I'm telling you what, Owen Hart really should have been pushed. He really should have been world champion. But that being said, for the purpose of this countdown, I think Bret Hart gets the nod.
Yep.
Okay. I have to pick between 2 ECW alumni, so this is special for me. Chris Jericho versus Lance Storm. Let me say something. This may sound obvious at first of who we think is going to win. I will say Lance Storm is criminally underrated. Yeah.
Yes.
Go back and watch some of his ECW matches, especially him versus Chris Chetti, him versus Candido. He really should have been a world champion too. When he got to WWE and then even WCW, to be honest, they really didn't know how to use him as well. But in ECW, he was phenomenal. He's one of the greatest technical wrestlers I've ever seen. Let's flip the other side now. You got Chris Jericho, who's an amazing technical wrestler as well. Not even that, he's super athletic. But I think I'm gonna give it to Chris Jericho. In part, when it comes to skill, you can flip a coin. But Chris Jericho just had way more charisma, and he was one of the best on the mics. There was a reason why they strapped the rocket ship to him once he got to WWE. He was the first undisputed champion ever, which is saying a lot. In the end, I think Chris Jericho gets that. But I'm telling you, if you want to watch some great wrestling, go back and watch Lance Storm.
100%. I was thinking about that. That was the first thing when you said Lance. I was like, he is severely underrated. But compared to Chris Jericho, he's just got that longevity. And look at him now. He's still on TV. So,
Yeah. All these years later, crazy, right?
Yeah.
Okay. This is going to be really, really tough. For Dez, you have to make this call. Kenny Omega, who we mentioned, especially the last couple of weeks, I think we've taken him for granted because he is phenomenal. But he's going up against the legendary Chris Benoit, R.I.P. This is tough. This is probably the toughest by far of the first round. Who you got? But give me an explanation before.
I got no one. Okay. You know what? I look at it. It's like two different times I'm looking at too. You know, Benoit, when I think of Chris Benoit, I think of WCW and that great time. I mean, he was a multi-time champion, tag team champion within WCW and WWF at the time. And then I think of, his relationship with like Eddie and everybody. I'm like, I just think of them.
Well, and he was a legend in ECW too. Him and Dwayne Malenko, I'm telling you, was great.
Yeah. And then we flip over to Kenny Omega, and then we think of what he's currently doing in AEW as a beast of a champion. He is so great and so technical, and we have said it time and time and again. If you look at it for the past 6 months, we're like, we did take full advantage of him and just didn't appreciate him, knowing that his career is, it's coming to a close eventually. And so we got to think about AEW and what he's done in the past couple of years there. What he's accomplished in Japan, which is insane. And then, he had some time in AAA and Lucha Libre. So, I don't like this.
The computer picked the matchups, not me.
I know. And so now that I'm thinking of it, I'm like, as much as I love what Benoit did, I'm going to go with, just because of all of those multiple 5-star matches that Kenny has had, I'm going with Kenny Omega.
Wow, okay, yeah. And again, if this was, we'll pick a hockey game, this would have been in a triple overtime, probably a 4-3 final score.
This say this was easy.
No, not at all. This was tough. Wow. So, listen, that's impressive, though. We're talking about the king of Canada of all time, and Kenny Omega to advance, anyone that advances the second round in this countdown is impressive. So, congrats to Kenny Omega. Okay, now I have to pick between two brothers. Edge versus Christian Cage. Now, again, this may seem obvious from the initial, but let's keep in mind, both these guys started together. You could make the argument that creative really kind of leaned toward one way, but in reality, Christian Cage really held his own. I really do think he was one of the most short-changed champion of all time in WWE. He had the title for 5 days, which made no sense. He really should have had a longer reign. He was the man in TNA for a while too, because so they automatically catapulted him. He's very, very, very solid. But now let's talk about the accolades of Edge. Listen, first and foremost, both these guys won how many world tag team championships? It was insane. They had some of the most epic tag team championship matches of all time, especially against the Dudleys and the Hardy brothers, the Hardy Boys. So, you already have that. You already put them in the Mount. You can put them in Mount Rushmore for tag teams. But then, once they decide to go individual, they immediately rose to the top, and they had Intercontinental Championships amongst everything else. And then Edge was just, it seemed like, especially in that 07, 08, 09 era, they didn't know what to do with it, so they just gave Edge a championship back. Rightfully so. So he had that unfortunate incident where he had to retire for a little bit, but the fact that he came back and he's now, he automatically started main eventing, and he won Royal Rumble, and now he's in AEW doing his thing. I think when it's all said and done, even though they're bros, I'm going to give this to Edge.
Okay. I would have done the same thing. It was really hard. It'd be like picking between your two children, basically.
Yeah, for sure. They're boys, and I think they'll get along even after this countdown, but I think Edge gets it.
Yeah.
Okay, Des, you are getting the hard ones. You now have to pick between Bret Hart and Chris Jericho. This is not easy. Who you got?
I don't like this game anymore. Deep down inside, I already know my answer, but it's not an easy one just because of just Bret is Bret. I have a loyalty. And okay, but look at Chris Jericho. He has had such a career, 30 plus years, multiple promotions. He has reinvented himself so many times and has stayed relevant throughout the changing of this industry, which tells you a lot. And you can't really say that much about Bret because Bret is Bret, and he is a legend, but God, I don't like this. But you know what? Because I am loyal to my guys, as hard as it is to break the walls down, I'm going to shatter them and we're going to put them in a sharpshooter. And we are going with Bret Hart.
Yeah, I think in the end he gets the edge, but this was tough. I got the softballs, you got the hard ones. I will admit that. So the computer wasn't working in my favor.
Yeah, it was.
Okay, but I don't have an easy one this time. No. Kenny Omega versus Edge. And what's funny is this could conceivably happen in AEW next week.
It could, and it might.
Yeah, right, watch this happen now. We manifested this because of this countdown. Listen, again, we've been saying we've taken Kenny Omega for granted. He's phenomenal in the ring. I just gave all the accolades to Edge. They both have charisma. They both are great on the mic. In 3 to 5 years, you may say Kenny Omega, but I think if you're going from where they started to today, right, where we're actually doing this countdown, I think Edge has more accolades, so I'm going to give it to Edge. I'm going to give the Edge to Edge.
There you go.
So Edge, congratulations.
You can't go wrong.
Yeah, you can't go wrong either way. So Edge, wow, has now made the championship for King of Canada. This is impressive. Wow. Okay, so Dez, you are now going to pick between Bret Hart versus Edge. I'm scared to count how many championships have been won between these two guys. This is not going to be easy, but give it to us. Who's the King of Canada?
You think you know him? No, it's not. We don't need to say this again. There's just both of them are legends, icons, Hall of Famers. They've had hell of a career, both of them. But you know what? I'm going to take my sunglasses off and put them on him like I've always wanted it. And it's going to be my man, Bret Hart. I think this is a no-brainer. As soon as we saw this, in my head, I was like, it's Bret! But that does not mean that the rest of these guys on this countdown does not deserve anything, because we listed every accomplishment, and it's insane. And there's so much more to talk about. But, yeah, it's Bret Hart.
My gut was kind of leaning towards that way just because of just how much he was in the wrestling world, obviously. Yeah. Son of Stu. You couldn't go wrong with so many guys. You can make the argument. I mean, this is why this is fun, because there's so many different directions you can go. You know what? If we've been saying this with some of the tournaments that we've done, if the tournaments had different matchups, that could have changed the outcome. I didn't expect Edge to make the final round, but he did. And but again, that's not to say he shouldn't have. You could make the argument that Chris Jericho could have made the final round. And what happens if, would I pick Bret over Jericho? Who knows? Maybe one day we'll reshuffle this. But in the meantime, we are now gonna have a lightning round Canadian quick draw. Are you ready for this?
No.
All right. This could be obvious, but you kind of said it from the get-go. There's so many people that could have been listed as part of this countdown, but who's the best Canadian wrestler ever?
Bret the Hitman Hart.
I love it. Okay, cool. Interesting question. Best Canadian match ever?
I've got two. There was In Your House event. It was like the 10-man Canadian Stampede. against the Hart Foundation versus like Stone Cold, LOD, who was it, Goldust, and who was the other one? Ken Shamrock. Yeah. That was fun. Just because they switched roles because they were on Canadian soil. Or we can go with the obvious, the Montreal Screwjob.
Great choices. Okay, we kind of alluded to it, but who's the most underrated Canadian wrestler of all time?
Chelsea Green.
Okay, I did not see that coming. Okay, best Canadian promo ever.
This wasn't done by a Canadian, but it was done in Canada, and it was in my head. I just think about it just because of the heat. Shawn Michaels, 2005, when he went back to Canada, and he did the "Who's Your Daddy" promo, and they just booed the hell out of him and hated him. And then he played Brett's entrance music, and no one came out, and he was just like, "I screwed him 8 years ago, I'll screw him again." I love it.
Okay, who has the best Canadian entrance?
Chris Jericho.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay, wow. Canadian wrestler who you wish was in this tournament?
Roddy Piper.
Ooh, good choice. Okay, and who will have the greatest legacy 10 years from now? Ooh, that's tough.
That's on this list?
Doesn't have to be.
I mean, if we're looking at this list, I would say Kenny Omega. And then I feel like Edge and Christian have so much more with what they're doing. I think it's fun to see. I don't know. I feel like everybody, but Kenny Omega really stands out to me.
Love it. All right, Des, this was a lot of fun. What are your final thoughts?
I give it an A for Canada. This is great. I love it. It just makes you appreciate just how wonderful and like crazy this world is, that this, people in a different country can create such crazy athletes. And when you're looking at this list and doing research, you're like, there are a ton of Canadian wrestlers that you didn't even know were Canadian. So that's what blew my mind. I was like, oh, I didn't even know. So yeah, this was fun. I want to do more of these.
100%. And listen, part of the reason why we did this episode is because we're leading up to All In, where Kenny Omega is going to headline. In 10 years from now, do you think Kenny Omega would have been higher in our rankings?
Yeah, potentially, yeah.
All right, that actually wraps up this fun-filled episode. Who's your favorite Canadian wrestler of all time? Please shoot us a DM at the Shoots and Ladders.
And like always, like, share, and subscribe on YouTube and Spotify.
Once again, my name is Jason.
I'm Desiree Jason.
All right, until next time, have a blessed day and a blessed week.
Have a great week. Bye, friends.
This was another episode of the Shoots and Ladders podcast.